Hi, my name is Keisha Celestands, and this is my husband,
Jeffrey Celestands.
And welcome to Conversation with the Celestands,
the podcast.
The podcast. All right, so we're going to get into it. Today, we're going to be kind of touching on or talking about, we found a topic we think will be really good, and it is, should the law allow marital contracts with expiration dates similar to business contracts?
Awesome, so, like a lease.
Like a lease. You can lease to buy, right?
Lease to buy.
Lease to buy. So again, that question is, should the law allow marital contracts with an expiration date similar to business contracts? So Jeffrey, what do you think?
I think that is a great idea, but there have to be some addendums.
Like how?
Children.
Like what do you mean?
When you have children, you can't have I have a kid as soon as we get married, 10 years, come in, I want to walk away. You still got a contractual agreement with the kid.
But in the initial contract, could you have that in the initial contract that has you already have the custody agreement written within that
That's what I'm
contract?
saying, that you need some addendums.
But that wouldn't be an addendum. That would be already in there when you first started.
That's what I'm saying. That's an add-on to the contract. Yeah.
So you feel like if that happens, then you feel like that's fine.
But you still stuck with that person. You can't truly walk away from a person when you have kids with them.
But what if you have a choice in the contract? So you can say you can go in first.
If we have kids, then you keep the kids, and I can walk away.
No. So the contract it expires every 5 years.
Wow.
So it would be like every 5 years you go before an attorney or the judge and you make a decision on whether or not you want to extend your contract.
I think there'll be less married people, but it would be neater. Divorce wouldn't be that sloppy. If you walk in saying these are the rules for the first 5 years and at the end of 5 years,
But it's
in concept is great. It wouldn't never happen. Somebody's always more dedicated to the marriage than the other. So, but how do you include that in the contract that says, will it have to say both people have to agree, or will it have to say if one person does not want to stay, they can walk away? Yeah, but that would be easy in divorce. Let's get divorced if we both decide we don't want to be together. We split it. We walk away. We've seen that happen.
Okay.
Somebody is always more invested at different times in a relationship than the other one. It should be able to say if one party isn't happy, they can walk away and cancel the contract.
So if you walk away, can you have like in there that if what is it when you change your mind, can you come back like after 30 days? Be like, no, I want to come back.
You gotta do a whole nother contract.
You have to do a whole new contract.
Just like buying a car, when you walk away,
you turn that person.
Yep. We have to have in a contractual agreement. We got to redo paperwork and everything.
I think that would decrease the rate of.
That's what I'm saying. I believe that it would decrease the rate of divorce.
Definitely, because you don't want to have to go through because I think that if that happens in the contract, that if you decide to separate but get back together, you have to date at least a year before you can remarry. I think
there'll be clauses in there, like a good contract, like if a physical abuse happens on any party, the other one can cancel it's got to be proven they can cancel the contract.
Early cancellation?
Early cancellation with benefits.
Okay. So if they can prove that there was something going on with...
Now hearsay, it's got to be
that's what I'm saying.
If
they can prove it, then they can walk away early.
Yep.
But then they will have benefits. So would they get money or what happens?
They'll get some kind of stipend for you breaking that contract.
Some alimony?
Yeah, but it'll be a lump sum.
Would they still get alimony?
I wouldn't want to do alimony. Then I'm still connected to you because I'm waiting for money for you to pay me. I want to be like court. They say you owe this person for breaking your contract $10,000. And from there, the court settle it. You got to pay the court $10,000. The court pay this person. But I don't want alimony that I'm going to have to, if I don't work, I'm going to be paying you for the next 15 years. Lump sum, you break this contract, here's the consequence for you breaking this contract.
Now, to me, on the other side is that I know for a fact that if I can just stay in this relationship for 5 years, I can get out when I want to. I don't feel like a person would feel like they have to work it. I don't think people work as hard.
I don't think they will.
I don't think that they will be as invested if they know that it's like buying a car. You know,
right.
You know you're gonna trade it in probably in 5 years or less.
Right.
And so, you know, I don't think that they would take care of it because it's not.
But to me, it's a contract of how you look at marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at marriage like you're buying a car, or do you look at marriage like you're buying a home?
Mm.
So homes appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
cars depreciate, boats, planes depreciate. So if you walk into your marriage looking like it's a home, this is where I'm gonna be at. This is the woman who's gonna have my kids. This is the man who I'm gonna have my kids with, and this is a long-term thing. And she gets beautiful after every year. Look at this. Then you invest more in it. Mm-hmm. But if you're in it for the glitz, the glare, what they say, the sizzle, and not the substance, then you don't put a lot in the marriage.
Mm.
When I went into it with the aspiration of buying a house. I said, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to put my roots at. Mm-hmm. There is no getting out. It wasn't for the sizzle. Okay, some sizzle. But it was mostly for the sizzle.
Wait a minute. Rewind.
For the sizzle.
So what it wasn't for the what now?
Sizzle.
Was there sizzle?
Yes, it was.
How much?
But a whole lot.
Okay.
A bunch of sizzle. But that's not what I base a relationship on. I base a relationship on one long term. Do you see yourself having kids, growing old? I don't think people look at that when they get married. They get married for the love and the lust and infatuation. Mm-hmm. And some people get married just to want to say they had a big wedding and got married. Mm-hmm. Then after all that's over, and the sizzle over, and that's that same old car.
Do you think that people would do things like 2 months prior to the 5-year expiration get pregnant?
Why prior to?
Just so they can kind of make it harder for the person to say, I'm going to walk away.
No, because I would say that whatever you came in this marriage with, you leave with. Whatever you came with before we get married, isn't that the contract? So if you had a whole baby before we got married, it's your baby. It's not mine.
I'm saying if they're married, right?
Right.
And then they've been married for 4 years, 10 months. Mm. And the person comes through and say, I'm pregnant now.
Got to be a clause in them. It's got to be, you got to have addendum. You have to have a good lawyer. You got to have an addendum. And it should be agreed upon. Uh-huh. We have to agree upon that we're having a kid. For instance, you decide you don't want to have a kid. He decides that he want to have a kid. Y'all come together and make a decision. Y'all having a kid. But if he want one and you don't want one, and in your contractual agreement, you have to have one. You have one, he gets the kid. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe. Whoever wanted the kid, you made an agreement.
I feel like eventually it'll be messy.
No, contractual. That's what makes contracts good.
But see, contracts don't determine emotions. See, that's the difference.
But it's gonna get messy regardless. Divorces are messy.
Okay, if you so tell me, what would you think what would be the negative side of that? What would be?
It would be messy.
The spin, the other side.
It would be messy. It's cold.
It is very cold.
Contracts are cold. You do your time. Mm-hmm. I mean, so in this contract said I don't have to be passionate. I don't have to be intimate. I got to pay the bills. I think people are getting relationships. And like you said, they'll just be waiting for them 5 years to be over so they can walk away. They'd be cold and callous.
I think that if you knew that you had to be in this relationship for 5 years, you would be very careful before you make the decision to marry someone.
I think that if you stuck there,
if you get stuck now, like you said, if there's abuse or anything like that happens,
you gotta have more men can be.
Then you can.
She beat me, but dude, I'll tell you a good thing about that. If I got cameras around and she slapped me, and I know I'm out. Be people keeping their hands to themselves, though. I bet you that'll happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if I slap her and she come in and prove it, and then I gotta pay you 20 grand because you physically abuse her, it'd be less people getting slapped.
Yeah.
Hey, monetary pockets in prison. Did you hear them? The fine is 20 racks, or you don't have it, but I'm gonna put you in jail until you come up with them $20,000 that you need to pay her for hitting her.
Yeah, and it should be higher with for your tax bracket.
Yep. You marry a millionaire, the millionaire smack you, you pay more. I agree. I think less people get married too.
I do too.
If you got to be in there, you can't get that on all. You
can't.
Run your ass off to Vegas and get married. You in that bad boy for 10 years. Ain't no getting, 5 years. Ain't no getting to know nothing. You are in there, live together. And we ain't talking about we're married and I'm living over here. You stay over there. We talking about in-house, asses together, marriage. I mean, y'all don't have to be in the same bedroom, but you got to be in the same house.
Would you still have to perform your wifely duties?
That's your contract. That should be in your contract. I would put certain things in my contract.
What would be in your contract? Tell me. What would your contract look like?
Being that it's YouTube, I have to be very subtle about what we say.
All right.
But there's certain things that was promised in contracts previous to getting married that is not necessarily fulfilled all the time. You need to do more than whatever they feel like doing it.
Whatsoever do you mean?
Nothing, darling. This is just random.
Well, I'm saying that I feel like certain things that men should do that they say they're going to do or pretend that they did prior to, I think that they should continue to do those things. How about that?
Oh, well, you said that. You talking about like dating and taking folks out.
Flowers and
flowers
pop-ups
and candy and pop-ups and coming in and do all the sweet stuff.
Yes.
So how would you structure your contract? How many sweet things need to be done in a month?
Weekly.
Weekly sweet thing?
A weekly sweet thing. A
weekly sweet
date.
thing?
Yes.
A weekly date?
A weekly date and a weekly sweet
So let me ask you a question. If it's weekly, then it would be no longer spontaneous. You'll know it's coming. What makes it sweet?
What day?
Oh, yeah, it could just alternate days?
Just alternate days.
A sweet stuff? Mm-hmm. So you know with sweet stuff, other stuff comes with sweet stuff.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't have no problem with...
Can we write out that contract now? Now, you can't get out of your marriage, though. Sorry.
Being that we're...
I feel like I've been holding up my...
No.
I feel like I've been holding up my end of the bargain.
Well, you've been doing your thing up the last maybe 60 to 90 days.
First of all, please don't put my business in the street like that.
60 to 90 days. Anywho, but I think that is I think that would be a great idea, and I also think it would be a terrible one. What takes the spontaneity out of being married? Do we go to how do you do that? Do you say, hey, will you marry me? Or do you say, look, I'm thinking about marrying you, let's go to our attorneys and draw up this marriage contract?
You do. You know what? I feel like people should just have their contract. So it's like you meet, you date, and you say, would you like to take a look at my contract? And they say, would you like to take a look at my contract? And you already have them drawn up, just in case.
Just in case you meet somebody.
You always have your contract, because your contract is not going to change, correct? You're going to want pretty much the same thing in every marriage.
So you get to a certain point and say, hey, I'm going to let you know before we go any further.
This is my contract.
Here's my contract.
Do you feel like this is something you can do?
These are all the things that you sign here, and here. Well, we need to do that for everything. We went out on a date. I'm going to let you know before we're going out. First date. Come to third date, this is what I need. Here's my contract. I need this, and this. So you can't say, he did this. You go to contract. In the contract, you said, we're going to do this come third date. I think everything need to be contracts.
Really?
Dating, let's meet up. Here's my contract. I need this.
Are you going to put in there on the second date we have to kiss?
Yes.
Open mouth?
Yes, a little tongue in there. And then third date, the ooh, you need to happen.
No.
The date is terminated.
What?
Is this happening tonight? Nope. Contract up. Boom. Pack the bags up, leave.
You gonna stamp the 9 on it?
Yeah. Boom.
Terminated.
We going nowhere.
Contract terminated.
I'm letting you know, first day, here's my contract. For the second, third day. I need these things to happen. Now, you talking about a cold world.
It would be cold.
It would be cold. But we'll have less litigation.
But you know what, Jeffrey?
We'll have less litigation if ahead of time we sign a contract. So here, are you a freak? No, you like this? Do you like this? Sign this thing. Let me know what you will and you won't do. All right? What is your safe word? Put it on there. Do you need a safe word? Well, right? You'll be, well, do you like this? Do you like that? Well, he broke that contract. It's done. You sued. You told me you did this, you didn't do that. And you'll know
But
something.
what if things change?
When?
I'm saying, like, in their life, like health issues and stuff like that. Like,
Right.
they can have moments where they're going through depression. You know, I always go to the mental health part of it.
I mean, that's fine. Your contract needs to say that you have these mental issues.
So, would you allow for a
break?
yes, a suspension of the contract?
It depends on the wording of the contract. So your suspension is what? You can't go crazy and decide you're going to date 15 different people and come back to this. So you know what? I want to resume. I got my wildness out. If you want to break that contract, you got to come to me and we have to break that contract. Oh, we got to bring attorneys together. I am no longer satisfied in this relationship. I want out. And then I say, these are the things I need for you to get out. This contract, it becomes business, all business. But then you don't have people jumping in a marriage, jumping out all willy-nilly. People married 30 times. Because in my contract, how many times have you been married? Prior to this, 5, no thank you. Put out my rubber stamp, denied.
Yeah.
I think it's clean, but everything will be real cold though. Like kind of people setting up marriages. Like your mom said, I'm gonna let you know, go to college, you do this, here's your husband already. Whenever you need her, you don't have to worry about if you getting married
No.
now. If they pre-picked your man.
No, that would not be neat.
That'd be great though.
No. Do you want your mom to pick your woman?
I mean, no. But we would have less people out here running through men, men running through women. If you at a certain point, you're gonna, this is it.
But there are other things that go into choosing a man for a woman that your mom is not going to check out.
Not the Muslim culture.
But I'm just saying, like, your parents are not going to check that out if it's not the Muslim culture. And there are certain things that are required in a marriage for some people that if that's not hidden, then we're not getting married.
Are we thinking now about your pleasure?
Yeah.
Other than the necessity.
Exactly.
Do you need pleasure?
Exactly. It's a must. It's mandatory.
You can live off of necessity.
That's a lie. It's like saying going through life without laughing. That makes no sense.
I mean, you won't die without laughing.
I would.
No, you probably have a good friend
I would
that you can go laugh with.
No. Do you feel like you can live without laughing? Live your whole life without hearing anything funny or laughing?
No, because I laugh at our stuff.
And
so
I do too. So we both do. I wouldn't make it. Like, literally, you being funny is probably 70% of why we ended up together.
Damn, 70%? That's
because we talked for a month first. So I started falling for you in that month, and it was because you made me laugh and I enjoyed conversation with you. But you were so funny. You are. And so that was important to me. There are certain things that are important, right?
Right.
And I feel like if someone's picking your person, then they can't pick those things. Those things they're not going to look for. Right?
Right. But we know that a lot of folks aren't very good at picking who they need to be with.
That is true.
So they need some help. So can your parents come and say, here, go 3 guys, make a decision out of these 3? I want to be funny. Take the funniest one out of the 3.
But still the pleasure part of it. You can't Run through 3 people and say, you.
You.
You pleasure, you fun it. Where am I going to go to?
Right.
There are 2 people?
You said that you need the one that's the most important to you. So is funny most important? You give up that pleasure for funny? Or do you take pleasure over funny?
No, that's not how it is right there. I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay. Because we know that most people cannot pick their mate.
No. So we're going to agree that that would be a good idea about 60%.
Which one?
As far as
the contract?
Contractual marriage.
I think that it's a neat concept. I think no matter which way you go, it's messy. I think no matter how you set up the contract, somebody is way more invested than the other person. And I think there'll be a lot of folks who get in and it's going to break contract. But I think there'll be a lot of broke people. Especially you have to say, oh, do I stay with another 3 years or do I lose these $10,000?
I think that people would do things to break the marriage. They will.
The wording you would have to break. You would have to slap her and spend that money.
But I'm saying, like, because cheating could break it. Do you think that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a part of a contract.
People would cheat just so they can break the marriage.
But that's a monetary penalty.
Oh, yeah, they owe money.
It's a
that's
penalty.
Right. See,
most people.
Yeah, that's true.
Either what they say is guns or butter. Either it's money or power. If I take your freedom, okay, you're gonna cheat. You broke this contract. You're about to do 5 years in jail. You're gonna finish this marriage or whatever the term left. You are spend incarcerated.
Oh, so. If you break the marriage at year 4, you spend a year in prison.
Yeah.
Or pay $100,000 or whatever.
Pay $100,000, whatever it is. And like you said, your bracket is bigger because $100,000 for me will be like $3 million for somebody who got money. So if you're in there and you got a lot of money and you break that contract and that means it's gonna be $12 million.
Yeah.
You come not look.
You're not breaking that contract.
These $12 million don't necessarily go to her.
Yeah.
It go with the streets and finance and stuff because I don't want her to say I'm gonna make you break this contract and I'm gonna get these $27 million.
She just gets a percentage.
You get a percentage of that for you breaking that contract. So it really don't give her incentive to have you to break the contract and do something to make you slap or cheat to get it. You'll get a small portion of that and the state get the rest. Because the state don't benefit from you being married or you being divorced.
Correct.
Or whatever charity y'all decide on is going to. Part state, part charity, and you get a small portion of that.
I think that's a good idea.
And you have less cheating. Oh, you cheated with old girl? Okay,
cool.
Huh? You gonna come off 100 racks. If you don't have 100 racks, you about to do the next 3 years in jail.
So the person that they cheat with, would you make them pay money? That'll stop a lot of cheating. That'll stop a lot of people. Well, the law that, we'll just let that go. That's a whole nother conversation.
We're talking about getting sued.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know you can sue because that person wasn't under contract. I don't understand how they do that in North Carolina.
That's true.
The contractual person who set the contract.
That's what I always say.
Yeah. Because if you never tell me you married, I don't know.
Even if you tell me you're married, you owe me nothing.
Yep.
I mean, it's a respect thing. It's something, where maybe you're not being respectful, but you don't owe me anything because a lot of times you don't know the person. And they did not sign a contract saying that they were going to be with you.
So contractual, that is a neat concept. And then you'll know, hey, before we get married, here's my contract. We got to look at each other's contract. We make adjustments, amendments, and put contracts together. And here's 5 years, we're going to be married.
That's crazy. And
for
then
5
you're like,
years.
okay, extend it for 5 more. What if you go in there
you
after
come in
5
there-
years and you say, oh my goodness, it's been wonderful. We're going to do 10 years this time.
I don't know. So now, let me ask you this question. Yeah, this contract, we're going to last a little longer. Now, let me ask you a personal question. Is 5 years long enough? Do you remember when we first got married, where you would have been at in 5 years?
I think that when we first got married, I think 5 years was long enough because I feel like
we got married after 5 years.
Of being together, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is in our marriage.
Oh, being married?
Yeah.
Well, let me see. So we're talking about, so it would have been 2015, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we was in our groove in 15. Yeah, 15 we would have elected to stay married, though. 15. I don't know that.
That first 5 years of dating, I don't know, it was a question mark.
And living together.
Yeah, we were living together. Yeah.
Rough.
It was. We would have had to. We would have had to go to therapy.
That would have been. That was.
I think that we would have
But
stayed
therapy.
together.
But therapy did it because after 2 years we moved to Hammond.
3 years.
3 years we moved to Hammond. You started going to therapy. You started going to therapy.
No.
I mean, not to therapy, but going in your master's.
Yeah.
And from there, you.
I did have to go to therapy.
Yeah, you dealt with that. Then you came home and gave me some, dropped a little knowledge on me about communication. And I made some adjustments and things happened. So, yeah. And I think that but I think that in the midst of that contract, you have to do therapy and counseling. Is a staple of not breaking that contract or you owe some money. So if you had to go and learn how to communicate, I think anything.
It requires you to work. I feel like it requires you to, because I feel like now people don't really want to put their time in, don't want to put their work in. They want it to come ready-made. They want that microwavable, frozen dinner marriage.
So look, let me tell you what I think. I think that most women cheat with married men because they stand back and they see this guy together, married, having some things, taking care of house. And instead of working for yours, they want yours. You know what I'm saying? I want that car I seen that you put time in, put the tires on, put the rims on, tinted the window. Man, I want that one, but I don't want to get that one from scratch. I want the leather and the sunroof and all that in it already right there. And I think that causes people to want to cheat. They want your man. And they don't know the time you put in. But I do believe that in marriage, you should be mandatory counseling. Think about it. Before you buy a car, now they mandatory say you have to take driving instruction classes, right?
Oh, you're talking about before you get a license?
I'm sorry. Before you get licensed, you have to take driving lessons.
Well, they've always done that.
But you don't do it with getting married. You think there's some instruction they need to.
Some people do. Some people, in order to get married in certain churches, you have to go through marriage. But you're saying with a licensed professional.
With a licensed professional. I'm not talking about a counselor, y'all. I'm talking about somebody who's been married 40 years. I'm talking about a licensed professional counselor who has been married to be able to tell you, here is how things are. Not just in your marriage, in marriage in general. And if you're going to stay married, before you sign this marital contract, this is married your first 5 years. I think you need to work. When people get married, man, you just throw them in there. Okay, get married. That's what they do. You say, you do, I do, we do. All right, get married.
And they say a few words like, don't go to sleep angry and all that crap.
That craziness.
And that's it. And nobody else gives you
no instruction, no manual,
no template,
no book.
nothing.
Speaking of, same way with rearing children.
Yeah.
I think you should say, I think we're going to have a baby. Then you need to go to classes to be a parent. To know that's a whole nother, subject. We'll talk about that.
I was going to say, I feel like once you reach a certain age, if you had kids in your 20s or your late teens, you should be required to go and learn about the new kids.
Yeah, new kids are built
later
different.
on, because like having Devin at 19 and then having Joshua like 34, that's
a different. That's our kid, then Super Kid X. These kids are built way different than any other kids. So that's a whole nother conversation. But I believe there should be some instruction. Okay, we're gonna get married, it's gonna be a year. Not just counseling, you need to sit with married people and say, hey, here's a seminar about being married. And maybe at the end you be like, Lord.
And stop asking your single friends about your marriage.
And stop looking on YouTube about marriage. You need to sit with people.
Stop looking at people on YouTube that's married. Okay, look at us.
Listen to us. Happy. Listen to us about getting married. You know what? Cancel everything I just said. Go to YouTube and find married people. I forgot I'm on YouTube. Come to us and see. We're gonna.
But no, I think
we'll
what
keep it
I think
100
what we're
though.
saying is that sometimes when you see it looks so beautiful, for some people it looks so beautiful, and then you see that, and then it's not like that.
Dude, I always love leaning into terrible stories. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that everything is great and everything is wonderful. We're gonna tell you it's work, it's compromise, it's a lot of love, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And rearing kids is a lot of work, and it's no fun at all.
But you have to be very intentional in your marriage.
Yeah, and you got to. And your wife is gonna come to you and tell you what you're not doing 90% of the time.
Your wife should.
And you,
she
should.
Some wives don't. They keep it to themselves.
But another thing,
feel like they're walking on eggshells.
Yeah, but another thing, as a man, you should be, as a man or leader of the household, you have to be able to step in and listen to the complaints and suggestions of your people. If your spouse, your vice president, your co-president comes and tell you she ain't happy, then your job is to step in and do whatever it needs to make sure within reason.
Well, just have a conversation. Hey, let's talk about that. What's going on?
But that's conversation without judgment. You jump in there ready to listen to what she says, so you could jump in there first. But I mean, actively listening, trying to, and asking the right questions to make sure we're both, everybody ain't gonna be completely happy, but that we both can get some type of reciprocity. Both of us need to be able to say, okay, we can live with this adjustment.
Yeah.
Maybe you get that thing not just on your birthdays and holidays.
What thing?
Stuff. On birthdays and holidays on occasion. But one thing, y'all, and I love that word Keisha used, you have to have purpose. You have to be intentional. That's what I'm sorry. Intentional about your marriage. You gotta be serious when you sit down. And y'all need to sit down before you get married, and look at it as a contractual agreement, because it is.
You need to have a discussion.
Meaning that you're about to share yourself completely with that person. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I don't believe that you should come in hiding everything. Now, you don't need to say everything, but she need to know most of it.
So you don't feel like it should be complete...
I don't believe there's never supposed to be complete transparency.
Okay. You believe that there's some things you don't tell.
Sometimes you gotta keep to yourself. I don't want to know, Keisha.
Tell me
never.
Who the Thunder Monkey was.
Never. Okay. I will go to my grave.
To find out who this person was forever.
Never.
That he was with before me.
You'll never get that. I'll go to my grave.
He said he don't want me to see the person.
Never. Certain things you gotta keep. Certain things I don't want to know. And Keisha done overshared. I ain't got too much.
My husband will never be in a situation where somebody's there that, you know, I don't ever want him to be uncomfortable or feel like he is blindsided. Right?
Word.
And so I try to be a little bit more open. Of course, he doesn't know 100% everything, but he knows most of it.
I don't want to know. Certain things, they say, tell me everything. No, some things I don't want to know. Some things you keep to yourself. I'm with it. I have no illusions thinking that and put nobody on the pedestal. Word.
Yeah. So anyways, I guess our conclusion is it's a good idea.
In theory.
In theory. We know that will never happen, but it is a good idea in theory. I think that it will kind of keep people in check.
I think when
it holds you accountable for your own marriage. That's what it does.
Yeah, and I think that when you have no illusions or fairy tales thinking that this thing is going to be butterflies and daffodils, and you know there's consequences.
So bring your shoulders back. You remember we talked about remember you said you don't want to be slumped over? I'm going to let you do it, but you know.
But everything is not going to be daffodils and roses, and there's consequences for breaking these contracts, just like business. I think people won't break those contracts as fast.
I think so too. I know I would be hesitant, and I would be
More
very
intentional.
much, intentional on making it work, and I would have no problem with going to therapy. And I think that you will find that, because a lot of men don't like to go to therapy, and sometimes women don't. I think you'll find that they'll be okay with going to therapy if that means that.
I think most guys don't go to therapy because most therapists don't look like us. I think that most guys don't go to therapy because they feel like in therapy they won't be hurt.
Really? I found that some of them, I won't say all.
But that's you. Me going to therapy to see you, I'm more comfortable talking to you. She cute and run there. And I can tell you about my business and my problems.
But I found that with a lot of, sometimes guys are more hesitant to tell me because they don't want me to know everything.
Well, I'm talking about couple stuff. When it's a man and a woman and we sitting in front of a counselor and I'm looking at her, I'm feeling judged. I don't feel like I'm being heard. And having somebody sitting there with you that's saying, I've been married, that looks like you as a male and they looking at it through a male perspective, is totally different.
I feel like now, since we've been married and been together for almost 20 years, that I'm able to step back and see it from both sides.
Right.
And a lot of times when I say things to women, they're like, I never thought it about, maybe this is what he was thinking, or maybe this is what he was experiencing. I hear them always say, wow, I never thought about it that way. And it would be something so simple, but you don't ever step back and look at the other person's point of view. Truly look at it from the other person's point of view. And then even men, sometimes they're like, oh, wow, I never thought about that.
Do we be wrapped up in us? In most situations, you're in your head thinking about you. You're not thinking about your partner. Great leaders think about their people before they think about themselves. One of the greatest men I know, in the midst of a tragedy, he was more concerned about his company and his employees than himself. Now that could be a detriment to other things, because sometimes you gotta look at your partners and your investors as well as the people who work for you.
Yeah.
But you can't be in a relationship and be team leaders in there as co-partners or whatever, and just don't care about your team, don't care about your partner. Because it's about you and what you feel and what you want to do. If you tell me this makes me uncomfortable, you hanging out with the boys every night makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm used to hanging out with the boys. Then there need to be a compromise. Maybe once a month. Maybe I'm at home at this time. Whatever makes you comfortable. But even on that side, you can't say, I don't want you to do it no more. And I come to you and say, can I do this? No, none of it. See, nobody is giving. You got to have some compromise and some work through.
But you know what? I learned something on TikTok, right? About marriage, right?
Right.
So I was watching a video, and the lady was saying her husband asked her to go, did she want to go? He was going to Target or somewhere, Walmart, and he was like, did she want to go? And she was tired, so she didn't go. She was like, no, but then she got up and went, because she was like, if he asked, then he may have wanted that time with me. And I've tried to do a little bit better. I don't do it all the time, but I've tried to get a little bit better at when you say you want to go. I try to get up, because if you notice, I'll say no, and then after a while, I just get up and put on my clothes.
I did it today. With you going running, the errand you had to run, I was kind of I didn't really feel like it, and then I said, you know what? Yeah. You said, and I asked you, do you want me to go? You said, I asked you. I said, all right, let me get dressed. So, yeah, compromise. If you don't know when you're going to see your partner again, and every little time counts.
And sometimes you are exhausted. And you're exhausted from doing things with the children and with work, but you still have a partner. They have to, this is your person.
It's a job. Yeah. And then when them kids go, you got that person. Them
So
kids ain't going to be there all the time. Them kids going to leave at some point.
And they cool and all, but
I don't even like them like that.
Ain't helping me in the
But, you got to have, It's you and your partner. Y'all
Yeah.
got to build something.
Yeah. Well, that's how we feel. So if you all feel differently, or if you have some comments about it, please definitely comment below. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Hey, look, and if you got any comments on what we talking about, please go into the comment area and hit us up. Tell us what you think about relational contract.
Literally just said that.
But that's okay. You
The
said like,
exact same
but you
thing.
said like and subscribe.
I said that first. I said beforehand. I said, hey, put in the comments.
We ain't doing this tonight.
Yeah, we are.
We're not doing this
Okay,
tonight.
continue. You can say it.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Really?
That's it. And please share us.
Share us. Yes. Anyways, if you have something that you feel like would be an interesting topic to talk about, we definitely welcome topics. And well, we'll see you all in a couple of weeks.